Welcome. The men of the Biafra Defense Forces who were defending their land had an encounter, a very serious face-off with the men of the Zoo military. They had a very serious battle that lasted for a very long time, and in the end they were able to defeat the Zoo military. They subdued them with all the sophisticated weapons that they came with. And this is happening in Orumba, in Anambra state. It's happening in Orumba, in Anambra state. They had a serious battle and they defeated this Zoo military. And the video you are seeing on your screen is one of the explosives that the Zoo military shot at them, yet they remain gallant and untouched. This is the work of the gods of the land of Biafra. Also, the Zoo police, who no one knows where they were rushing and running to. They had an accident and almost all of them in that Sienna vehicle were died. This is the video of the accident.
Sorry, at Tabor Road. You're going there, your brother hold your gun. Your brother there, hold your gun. Oh, Jesus.
Officer, you are driving.
So that is it. As the men on the ground are dealing with them, the gods of the land are also dealing with them. It is just a matter of time, and the spirits of the land will show to them that they are truly in Biafra territory.
Thank you, Ayo. Look, in this murky world of intelligence, secret service, what have you, you will never get the truth unless documents are classified. That's what is called deep state operations. All I can tell you is, when I was serving on that Boko Haram committee, there were things we were told, which I even found alarming. But as I said, my focus was on the French, because it is the French that have had this tradition of trying to destabilize Nigeria. Dollars that were found on these Boko Haram people. There was an episode where a helicopter crashed in one of these northern states. And it was plenty of dollars that were scattered all over the place. Now, that doesn't mean that was the Americans who were on that plane, because there are so many organizations who use the dollar, and I will not be surprised if various security or intelligence organizations or people who are involved in all these dark shade operations will use the dollar to cover their tracks and so on. So it does not mean, and that's why I didn't jump immediately that it's the Americans who were up to this until this congressman said it. Now, if I'm not going to believe the congressman about operations, and this is a congressman who has access to their own data, he may have his own motive for what he's saying and for what he's doing and for why he's saying this. But if I'm not going to believe him, and on the grounds of that, we then end up with, we don't know. Well, if we don't know, then who will we believe? Then even when we say documents that are declassified, how are we even sure that whoever wrote those documents is telling the truth? You see, we are not going to get 100% certainty when you are dealing with intelligence operatives and what they are putting down on paper, some trying to cover their tracks, some trying to implicate the others. As regards to your question, what do we do now? Believe me, and this is the most depressing part of this, there is nothing we can do. You are dealing with a superpower whose tentacles spread all over the world. I'm not saying this about Americans alone. I'm saying this about MI6, the British. I'm saying this about the French. I'm saying this about the Chinese. All these are superpowers whose tentacles are global and spread all over the world. There's nothing you can do about them.
Now, what this man is telling you is the truth. But what he failed to tell you is that there are top politicians that are holding this country, to ransom. And it is through these politicians that they control the nation. It is through these top politicians that they control the nation. Tinubu has signed a peace pact with French company and the French government to allow them to mine our mineral resources as they like. Who gave Tinubu that power to sign such deal with the French government? Who gave Tinubu that power to allow them mine? And that is going to tell you how much this French company has pushed into Tinubu's private accounts. Open your eyes to see things as they continue to happen. Now, I want you to listen to this message. You are also going to get information on why some top people who try to, dig into some of these hidden informations abide mysteriously. Now listen.
Bættłè was always in that forest. It was looking at everything his boys were doing, looking for bandits, terrorists, kidnappers, bandits that turn kidnappers, kidnappers that turn bandits, everything. So he was always in the forest. One day, Bættłè entered the forest. Do you remember Sheikh Gumi? The way Sheikh Gumi was always negotiating with the bandits in the forest. He knew their spots, everything. And people were saying the government shouldn't be talking to Gumi about anything. Bættłè walked into a meeting in the forest with bandits and terrorists. Gumi was there. One of your biggest governors was there, and one of your biggest senators were there. Politicians fund this stuff. You saw them. Acted like nothing happened. And then later, I broke the news to you last year. They have taken Bættłè abroad secretly for treatment. As soon as I said it, Sahara also said it. So now, Dr. Kemi has it, Zahara has it. What should Nigerians believe? You better believe it. 2 weeks after I posted that they have sneaked him to abroad for medicals, they announced that he died. and his body was coming home to Lagos. So now they had to tell Nigerians that they actually took him abroad. And then they brought his body home to Lagos. 2 weeks later, when I tell you somebody has died, they're dead. I told you about Bakari, chief of staff. They told you 2 weeks later. Lagbaja actually died when they said they sneaked him abroad. No, 2 weeks later. We have to eat every day, no matter what. Lagbaja was poisoned. Got rid of him. Atahiru was always up there on the top of Kaduna, bombing bandits, terrorists, and kingpins and all that. His own was surface to air. Surface to air. I tweeted this wrong in 2021. Look at the dates on my tweet, people. 30th of May. The military plane that killed General Atahiru was shut down by an air-to-surface. It's surface-to-air missile. It was not bad weather. If you remember, that day, it was very nice and sunny. So that was strange. I flew from Lagos to Abuja. I checked Kaduna's weather. A week later, I tweeted, "It is time the army protects the land." Late Atahiru was investigating a lot of things. He was investigating his past colleagues in the army. Key government officials were even told not to attend his funeral. Remember that? Buhari didn't attend his funeral. Many people didn't, because there was going to be a terrorist attack at his funeral. I can't tell you this until now, 4 years later. On the 30th, I also said President Buhari must not leave a single stone unturned. Atahiru ordered the elimination of IPOB ESN commander Ikunso, which was a very bad move.
Now you see why some of these top people are being paid. Because once you see what you are not supposed to see, or know what you are not supposed to know, they will just take you out. What of that first flying officer, the female first flying officer? She was always accurate with her bombings, and they took her away. They took her out immediately because she was always accurate with her bombings. That is to tell you that there are people at the helm of affairs of this government, of this nation, that are the problem of this zoo called Nigeria. And that is why we always tell you that these military officers, they are involved. If you are not involved, they will take you out. So they are all involved. They know what is happening. They know what they are doing. They are all involved. And that is why you must clear them from your land if you want to have peace. Open your eyes, Biafran people. It is time to fight. It is time to fight. Thank you for listening. It is Biafra First.